1923, Eskom was established on the 1st of March as the Electricity Supply Commission Eskom. Eskom is 95 years old. Its start date March 1, 1923 and electricity was publicly used in South Africa for the first time with the opening of the electric telegraph line between Cape Town and Simonstown on April 25, 1860. Back in 1998, Eskom was sabotaged so as to not build any more power stations. Pre-1994, Eskom had no real government interference, and was managed by techno-geek engineers who were leaders in their respective fields. Post-1994, Eskom became one of the state's favorite toys, playing host to economic empowerment and political interference. The purpose of Eskom is to provide sustainable electricity solutions to assist the economy to grow and to improve the quality of life of people in South Africa and in the region. Eskom has aligned itself around 8 strategic objectives. The Kusile Power Station is the largest power station in South Africa, which produces around 4,800 megawatts of electricity power by coal, located in Mpumalanga. Medupi Power Station and Kendal Power Station are the second and third largest electricity producing plants. Both are coal-fired. Eskom is a public company, the entire share capital of which is owned by the state. It is thus an organ of state, as contemplated in the Constitution and the Promotion of Administrative Justice Act 3 of 2000. Even under apartheid, there was no attempt to Africanize Eskom senior management, the Institute of Race Relations said. In 1994, when the ANC took power, there were unfortunate changes at Eskom, some of them predictable, some of them surprising, the report said. Race-based affirmative action, political interference, and political appointments were predictable. Highly skilled and experienced white engineers, managers, and technicians were given generous packages to get out and make way for persons of the correct skin color and political affiliation. In its election campaign in 1994, the ANC had promised an annual economic growth rate of 6%, which South Africa could easily have attained, especially as other developing countries were growing even faster. If the country had increased growth to 6% a year, it would have run out of electricity in 2001, the report stated. What did Fikamani Hadebe say? Eskom CEO. Eskom deserves to apologize. It is compelled to apologize to South Africans for having brought these challenges. They were avoidable. But turning around an institution facing challenges takes time, Hadebe told the packed first day of countrywide hearings. Hadebe said Eskom was close to a debt trap and has warned that its debt could climb to R600 billion if it fails to implement the 15% price increase it has asked NERSA for in 2019. The biggest challenge is Eskom's balance sheet of Eskom, which has deteriorated over time. He said debt, which stood at R380 billion at the beginning of last year, has since climbed to R419 billion. 1922 to 2019, the rise and fall of Eskom. Pravin Gordhan, Minister of Public Enterprises, has painted a dire picture of Eskom, a company that seems to be in terminal decline. He has told MPs that the crisis is the cumulative effect of years of mismanagement and corruption. If the power utility continues on its present trajectory, it will cease to exist in less than 3 months' time. It is saddled with enormous debt, a bloated organizational structure and imploding infrastructure. Mission, 1922. But the company, up until the first decade of the 21st century, used to be the crown jewel among South Africa's state-owned enterprises. Eskom was established in 1922, after an act of the Parliament of the Union of South Africa, bringing together several disparate companies involved in the generation of electricity that mainly grew out of mining houses on the Rand. The name Eskom was derived from the company's original name, the Electricity Supply Commission, Eskom, or the Elektriciteitsvoorsieningskorporasie, EVCOM, as it was known in Afrikaans. The first chairperson of the board was Dr. Hendrik van der Bijl, a South African scientist and industrialist after whom the town of Vanderbijlpark is named. Starting small, 1924 to 1940, in the company's very first annual report dated August 9, 1924, the necessity of affordable electricity is put front and center of its mission. The Commission regards cheap power as an important factor in promoting industrial development and has, therefore, devoted, and will continue to devote, the closest attention to this aspect of its duties and responsibilities under the Electricity Act. According to the report, it started small. The Commission started out with a small skeleton organization, and, as its work is growing and new schemes developing, its staff is gradually increased in order to cope efficiently with the work. According to the annual report of 1939-40, the national grid generated less than 1,000 megawatt of electricity. The total kilowatt capacity installed, at December 31, 1939, to 95,000 kilowatts. Read, businesses are edgy, there's lots of confusion. Discovery CFO on load shedding corporate structure, 1980s. The Koeberg nuclear power station was fully commissioned in 1984, after its 2 generators were supposed to go online in 1982 and 1983 respectively. The company's structure was changed in 1985, after an amendment to the Electricity Act was passed, replacing the commission with a new corporate structure consisting of a management board and a management team. According to the annual report in 1986, Eskom provided electricity to Botswana, Lesotho, Mozambique, as well as the apartheid homelands of Bophuthatswana, Ciskei, and Transkei. In 1987 Eskom's name changed to Eskom. It operated 27 power stations with a capacity of more than 33,000 megawatts. It also employed more than 56,000 people with advancement and remuneration linked to performance, without reference to race, creed or sex, according to its annual report. Massive electrification, 1990s post-1994, Eskom embarked on a massive electrification scheme, connecting townships and households that were not connected to the national grid during apartheid. In 1995 alone, the power utility connected more than 300,000 households. In its annual report, John Marie, chairperson of the board, restated the company's mission, to force down the price of electricity for consumers. In Marie's words, the company was admired internationally and a pillar for the country's economic growth. According to Marie, Eskom was generating enough revenue to cover its costs, and would be able to raise affordable finance on the international markets to partially help finance expansion projects. Read, Eskom and the multi-billion rand megaprojects that could have saved SA Power Company of the Year, 2001. In 2001, Eskom was named the Financial Times Power Company of the Year at the Global Energy Awards ceremony in New York. It was described as providing the world's lowest cost electricity, while at the same time making superior technological innovations, increasing transmission system reliability, and developing economic, efficient, and safe methods for combustion of low-grade coal. In 2005, Ruel Hosa, chairperson of the Eskom board, said one of the many factors that made the company successful was its commitment to good corporate governance. It wasn't shackled by a regime of crippling debt or unsustainable subsidies from government. Crippling debt, 2019. Today its debt levels of 430 billion represent about 15% of the state's total debt. Debt from municipalities are growing by 1 billion per month, and its wage bill has exploded from 9.5 billion annually in 2007 to 29.5 billion in 2018. There has been a significant loss of critical skills, with poor quality of maintenance and poor workmanship causing breakdowns, of which 40% is due to human error, according to Gordhan. The company is suffering from systemic corruption, malfeasance, fraud, and state capture that has compromised the credibility of the organization and eroded investor confidence, Gordhan added. Eskom has a total installed electricity capacity of more than 45,000 megawatts. On Tuesday, it could only generate capacity of 27,000 megawatts against a demand of 30,000 megawatts. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel for Eskom?